My dad screamed, "Get out," at my 8-year-old and slammed the door in a thunderstorm. 3 hours later, she was in a hospital bed with hypothermia. It happened on a Tuesday evening. My wife had picked up an extra shift at the hospital, so it was just my 8-year-old daughter, Lily, and me, heading to my parents' house for dinner. We've been doing that almost every week for years. Mom loved having us over, and Lily always looked forward to helping her bake cookies. When we pulled into the driveway, everything seemed completely normal. Mom was in the kitchen preparing homemade chicken and dumplings, while Dad watched a baseball game with the volume turned up far too loud. Lily skipped inside, holding a colorful paper flower she had made at school. "Grandpa, this is for you." He barely glanced at it, set it on the table. She quietly obeyed, hiding her disappointment with a small smile. A few minutes later, my younger sister Ashley arrived with her son, Tyler. As always, Dad suddenly became cheerful. He greeted Tyler with a hug, laughed at every joke, and started talking about taking him to the county fair that weekend. Lily noticed. She always noticed. During dinner, Tyler interrupted conversations, reached across the table without asking, and spilled gravy on the tablecloth. Dad laughed it off. When Lily accidentally bumped her glass of water, Dad frowned immediately. "Pay attention," she whispered. "Sorry, Grandpa." The room fell silent. After dinner, Mom served warm chocolate chip cookies. Tyler grabbed several before anyone else could reach the tray. Lily carefully picked up one. Dad stopped her. "That's enough. I couldn't stay quiet anymore. Why does Tyler get away with everything while Lily gets criticized for nothing?" Dad folded his arms. "My house, my rules." I stood. "Then we'll eat somewhere else next time." Without another word, I helped Lily into her jacket. Outside, the sky had turned nearly black. Lightning flashed across the horizon as rain started pouring. I opened the truck door when Lily suddenly remembered her favorite blue sweater hanging on the coat rack inside. "I'll grab it," I said. I walked toward the front porch. Dad opened the door just enough to block the entrance. "No, it's hanging right there. You already left. It's her sweater. Come back tomorrow." I turned away, frustrated. Just then, a loud crack of thunder shook the neighborhood. Lily covered her ears and panicked. Instead of climbing into the truck, she ran toward the community playground behind my parents' house. I sprinted after her. Rain blurred everything. By the time I reached the playground, she was gone. Fear unlike anything I had ever experienced rushed through me. I searched every swing, every slide, every nearby street before calling 911. Police officers arrived within minutes. Neighbors grabbed flashlights. Search teams spread through the neighborhood despite the storm. Almost an hour later, an officer spotted a small pink shoe beneath a park bench near the walking trail. Lily had crawled underneath the bench, soaked to the bone and trembling so violently she couldn't answer when I called her name. The paramedics immediately wrapped her in heated blankets before rushing us to the hospital. Doctors diagnosed early hypothermia caused by prolonged exposure to the freezing rain. One physician quietly told me another 30 or 40 minutes outside could have become life-threatening. I refused to leave Lily's bedside. Around midnight, my parents walked into the room. Mom burst into tears the moment she saw Lily sleeping. Dad stood silently near the doorway. "Finally," he said, "I didn't know she'd get scared." I looked directly at him. "You've been scaring children your entire life." He opened his mouth to argue. I raised my hand. "No more. You don't get to explain this away." He stared at the floor. For the first time, I could remember. He had absolutely nothing to say. That was the last day my daughter ever visited his house. Life slowly became peaceful again. Lily started seeing a counselor who helped rebuild her confidence. She smiled more. She laughed more. Most importantly, she stopped blaming herself. My mother visited every few weeks without telling Dad. Eventually, she admitted she had spent years making excuses for his behavior because standing up to him had always frightened her, too. Hearing that broke my heart, not because I hated her, because I realized how many years fear had controlled our family. 2 years later, Lily invited Grandma to her elementary school art show. One painting caught everyone's attention.